What's going on, HPP fam? Welcome back to another episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the racing content. We've got some work to do on the S10. But in the meantime, our 2013 Challenger that we just did the Holley Sniper manifold swap to, due to the fact that the 6-1 manifold that was on here had strip threads in the intake and was leaking. Now it's not. So, got her strapped down on the dyno. Let's make some few tugs, make some tune-up changes, and get this one on back to the customer. We've got our Coyote engine on the stand and we are starting assembly on that. And then Gio has been ripping away on our purple Charger here that is getting a Texas Speed Stage 2 camshaft, I believe. And as you can see, he's got this thing all tore down. The new cam is already in. Head gaskets on, new lifters. And then our cylinder heads already have our valve springs, and he's currently putting the long tubes back on. Then we'll clean the heads and get them ready to drop back on. Unfortunately, we've slowed down a little bit on this one because the phaser limiter was actually bad in this car. So we've got a new one coming from Dodge. It'll be here in the morning, and then we'll be able to get this motor timed. But that is where we have made it on a Monday. We'll see what happens tomorrow. So guys, you've seen the Z06. That thing made 400 horsepower, which is crazy. It's supposedly 100% stock. That car was made on a Wednesday. Factory freak, I have no idea. Maybe the dyno was being generous today. But that one's all wrapped up and done. An oddball one that we have in today is this Lexus F-Series. It's got the inline 4-cylinder turbo. Something out of the norm for us to work on, but no other shop wanted to put his blow-off valve on. So we were happy to oblige him. We're not scared of working on stuff. But pretty cool little IS200T F-Sport. Pretty clean little car, but we installed a Go Fast Bits blow-off valve on it. Let me see if I can, I didn't film any of the install, but let me see if I can show you guys. I like to do. I like to throw my light around. So if you look just inside there, right there, that is the GFB blow-off valve. So we got that installed, we'll go ahead and fire this thing out, see what she sounds like. So we had another one dropped off on Monday. We've started to look at it today, and that is this 2012. We had the first thing, the battery sensor was broken, so we put a new one of those on it. Then topped it off with power steering fluid, and as you can see, we've got a valve cover off. The motor does not look crispy in there at all. It looks like trash. And then if you look here, it's got your broken valve spring. Fortunately, it hasn't dropped the valve yet, but fired the motor up and heard some nasty noises. So that means wherever this car was, supposedly the motor's been changed and all this stuff's been done to it, but that doesn't look too great. So I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, and we're going to do our due diligence, and we don't care what's supposedly been done. This motor's coming apart. So heads are coming off, front cover's coming off, and we're going to verify what parts are in here and fix anything that we find wrong before we move forward with this one. So unfortunately, this being a turn and burn with a tune and an airlift install, that is not going to be the case with this one. And Gio's been stuck on our purple 2019 because we're missing the cam bolt. So we'll probably be making a drive to Texas Speed in the morning to get a cam bolt for this Johnny. But that's where we're leaving y'all off with today. So as we keep rocking and rolling through this week, see, we've got our cam car strapped down on the rolls, but got two things we need to address before we start making pulls. Looks like this passenger side valve cover is leaking, so we're going to address that. And the dipstick tube bolt didn't get put back in, but no worries. That's why we double check our work to make sure things don't leave unfinished. But I've got this thing warming up first thing this morning, making sure everything's okay, doing a good once over. And our sheet metal Holley intake manifold Pro Charge Challenger is going home today. The transmission shop that he had it at before it came here said that he had a coolant leak. We didn't notice any coolant leaks while it was here, but before it leaves, I'm doing my due diligence and I'm doing a pressure check. As you can see, I got 16 psi of pressure in the system. I've been going through with my light, checking everything out, making sure I don't see any leaks underneath or above the gun. So far so good. It's been on there for about 15 minutes now and I don't see anything. So I think we're all set on this one. Get this one on back to the customer. Side note, our 2012 with the front end conversion, as you can see, is blown apart. Get some light on this situation. So unfortunately, unbeknownst to the customer, this was at another shop. He had a problem with his original motor. He bought a motor off a guy. The shop transferred his camshaft into this motor and put it back together. The head bolts were not properly torqued. I'm pretty positive they did not clean the head bolt holes out before they installed the heads. There was coolant or residue all over the head bolts. Just a bunch of things done incorrectly. As I already showed you guys, the valve spring's broken and everything was rusty. I mean, just disgusting. We did pull the cam out. It appears to be in good shape. Sorry, it's a little dark this morning. Got some cloud cover. Normally the skylights provide enough light. But yeah, the cam looks okay. It's a big one. Lifters look all okay. No problems there. So, and whoever put it together, God, stop it with the RTV craziness with the RTV. Stop it. Stuff has seals. But yeah, so unfortunately this thing dropped off for just a tune and an airbag install, and you see where we're at now. Heads are off of it and we're verifying everything is okay. So we're gonna order some valve springs for this Johnny and get it all put back together the right way, and then we should see this one fire back up next week. Let me get y'all up to speed on the Corvette. So yesterday, I pulled the Corvette in. He had a battery draining issue. It had an Optima red top in it. I already knew that Optima had a dead cell in it. It was 3 years old, and I've seen it with the Optimas do better with the batteries. I think Optima batteries are a big fucking hype. 10 years ago, they were dope. They are trash now. Pretty much every battery is trash now, except for some of the new stuff like anti-gravity and some of the race car stuff. It's pretty good, but remember, we used to be able to get 5-year warranties on batteries. On like all of them. Not anymore. And there's a reason. Quality has definitely gone down. But anyways, I'm gonna stop babbling about that. Put a fresh battery in the car, and I've let this thing sit for 2 days and it fires right up. Now I didn't put a multimeter on it and check for current draw just because it's not showing me signs that it needs it. So I haven't done such, but it's been running just fine. Second issue with this one was an overheating. And I think we've got that licked. Right now this car is trapped in here because of this one. We're gonna get this one out of the way so we can get this one out so I can test drive it. But this was the hunk of metal, because we're not gonna call that a thermostat. Somebody gutted a thermostat and put it in this car. That is the wrong way to do things. You don't do that. If you got an overheating issue, don't gut your thermostat thinking that's gonna fix it. It's not. Let me shut this one off and I'll tell you why. Okay, so story time. Any of you pros in the comments section, please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong here. But the way I look at it, it's called a coolant system, right? And so usually when you have systems, you have protocols, you have things that are happening for a reason. So the thermostat is in there for a reason. When you fire up an engine, you're trying to warm up the core of the engine. That's why the thermostat stays closed. So you have fluid in a radiator that is a different temperature than what is in the engine. And the whole premise is, once the engine reaches full operating temperature, that thermostat will open, allowing an exchange of fluid. You're taking that cool fluid that's in the radiator and you're ingesting that into the engine to maintain temperature. And that fluid keeps exchanging locations from the engine to the radiator. Your cooling fans are designed to cool that fluid when you are not moving or at low speeds. Once you're at highway speeds, those fans are off because they're in the way. But that's the whole point. And so when you guys gut these thermostats and throw them in a car thinking you're gonna fix a coolant system issue, you're just exacerbating it. Because now there's no exchange of fluid. Once that fluid gets hot and it's at whatever temperature it is, it's just that temperature. There's never a chance for that fluid to change temperatures, to exchange. That's the whole point of a radiator. It's a heat exchanger. So if the radiator fluid matches the same temperature as the engine, it's never gonna get any cooler. So that's my gripe about that. Long story short, guys, don't gut your thermostats. Figure out what's wrong with your coolant system and fix it. So guys, we have this Z06 drop off on this lovely Friday morning to wrap the week up. We're going to be doing an axle back exhaust on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and got it running. And on the rack, I'll go ahead and rev it for you guys so you can hear this system before we put the new one on. So guys, as you can see, Gio and I have already got the rear valence ripped off the back of this thing in preparation to get the stock exhaust out and this new Boat Goat Billy Goat BB baby. Hold on, let me get up in there for you. Boom, Billy Boat exhaust. So we'll go ahead and get this stock system tore out so we can get this new one in. First, we got to get the valving disconnected. Well, it looks like Gio's already done, so we're going to start separating all the hangers and getting everything disconnected so we can get this stock one out. Stock system is out and on the floor. Now the next step is going to be removing our active valving controls and swapping them to the new exhaust system. So we've got our rear valence back on. We're putting our plate back on. We'll go ahead and get everything reassembled, get our 7 mils all back in, and get our plate back on. And then I'll show you guys the final product. That's a wrap. Get this thing on down and fire it up for you guys so you guys can hear the difference. So guys, we'll get rocking and rolling on this thing. I've already made one pull on it. I'll show you what it made so far. Psych! Y'all see when it's wrapped up. But we took a little time, cleaned the shop up, get it all swept out, cleaned out, and mopped. That way we can get rocking and rolling. Waiting on some more components for Juan's Mustang motor. So we get this thing wrapped up, so while it's sitting over the weekend. And we are about to get our USS Hemi back up in here, and we'll start putting this one back together. We got some new valve springs for it. We verified everything else is okay, so we'll get rocking and rolling on that one in the morning on Monday. We'll wrap up the tune on this one, get it on back to the customer. We should have parts on Monday for this, so we can get rocking and rolling, and we'll have it back in, Juan's back in the engine bay, hopefully middle of the week next week. And then you guys seen, the Corvette's gone, Charger's gone. All those are back home, happy with their customers. Or all those vehicles are back home with their owners and happy. So that's gonna do it for this week's episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed the content. Like, share, subscribe. If you're not following us on TikTok, go follow us on TikTok. We're on there too. Go copy some merch. Ooh, got that high PSI merch. Go copy some merch. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.